Hello, I'm Fausto Botelho, and today we're going to take a look at the S&P, some of the commodities, gold and oil, and then we're going to see the coins that we think are worth keep an eye on. Well, to start with, the S&P didn't change too much from last week's. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Click the bell so you'll be advised whenever I produce new videos. Every Wednesday I've been producing these videos. And please share it in your social media too. It will help the channel. Also, if you are opening an account or considering opening an account in Binance or in BitMEX, please use the link below and you'll also be helping the channel. Well, back to the chart. The S&P is reverting this upward trend, and because of that, we think it will reach first Fibonacci contraction level, which is down here. Actually, I'm showing you the S&P indexed by the CPI, so inflation out in this chart. We're not considering inflation, okay? So that would mean if it comes to the first Fibonacci contraction level, the market would fall from today's prices another. Let's take a better look at this to see if that proceeds. Yeah, and that's going to put it right in the spot here. And then from today's prices, we're talking about 24.9%, which would mean that a recession would take over. And that, if we consider that the last upward trend was artificially done with all the quantitative easings that happened, I should imagine that we might have a very quick and fast descending bear market. That would eventually turn into a crash. We're talking about that here because the main theme of the channel is to talk about Kryptos, but because that may have severe consequences, extraordinary consequences, I would better say, to the crypto world, because if, as we've been saying here in the channel a lot of times already, if a small little bit of the money that is today in the stock markets all over the world is $80 trillion. So 1% of that is $800 billion. New York Stock Exchange itself has a market value of $28 trillion. So 1% of New York Stock Exchange would be $280 billion. I'm actually curious to see what is the market cap of the market right now, because it's been a while I don't see it. So I'm coming to CoinMarketCap here and finding out that the market cap of the crypto space is 243. Bitcoin with 56.8 dominance and $138 billion of market cap. So you can imagine what would a situation in which the flight for quality, and the flight for quality is that the situation in which, as a situation that always happens whenever the market goes down, and especially when it crashes. Every capital of the world, the big capital, the smart money, flies away from more risky places, and especially from places like Brazil, where there's a lot of liquidity. We have very developed stock markets here, and so the capital start flying back to the safety, not so safe nowadays, right? In the 2008 crisis, subprime crisis, the U.S. owed $9 trillion. Now it owes it owes $22 trillion, so not so safe. But we should expect that the speculative capitals that are spread around the world would fly back to the US. So if a fleet of that lands in the small airport of the Kryptos, that could boom, explode the market, and the market cap of the Kryptos could easily double, triple, or whatever, right? So this is the situation. Now back to the chart. The S&P that we thought was going to flag down is actually a pennant down. This is so far a accumulation that should continue the previous movement. Which is a downward movement. So I'm expecting the S&P to come down to 2740 in the near term. And if that happens, we're gonna see a top. We have seen already a top, as I told you last video, but because you see this downward movement is bigger than this, right? So this is the downward movement. So I think it's definitely creating a top. Now, the S&P, as I said, has done many things already. Right, 3 upward movements, a double top, broke the support trend line, made this rectangle here when it was breaking the support trend line, and now it's telling us that it just pulled back to this former support trend line, which offered resistance. And so, and especially if it comes down here, I think it will be very mature to start its descent towards first Fibonacci correction level, towards making the world lose a quarter of its wealth, and with all the consequences. First consequence is that the credit just disappears out of the market. Banks don't loan to banks anymore. People don't loan to people anymore. So everything stops and the commodities fall. So what happened to the commodities? Here's gold. Last week I said gold was going up because I thought it was perceived as a store of value. Apparently not. Because we have to remember that, first of all, gold is a commodity. Gold is used in every contact, electronic contact. So it is a commodity, and the commodities coming down are saying that they're not expecting a financial expansion. On the opposite, they're expecting a financial contraction, right? So gold is now testing this very important support level at 1270. 1270, and if it breaks this, it will be probably putting this segment down, and which would lead to a descent of it would probably have enough momentum to come down to 1200, and that's it for gold. Now, oil is also telling us that, where's oil here? Oil, I'm showing you the WTI. No, just the WTI. Just the chart, no quotes. I don't need any quotes. So that's oil. So what's happening? It broke this support line here, and it is apparently producing a rectangle, and it's testing the 61 level here. If it breaks, we can draw Fibonacci lines here. It will probably, come to this 57 and a half level. And it should come down. Well, that is, of course, apart from the fact that all the energy of the world is switching to electric power, right? All the cars and everything. And in my opinion, the transition is going to be much, much, much faster than we can imagine. Same way we didn't imagine this coming in 10 years from now. But, we're 10 years ahead of that invention. We couldn't imagine that. What is it that we can't imagine nowadays? You know what? One of, first, Kryptos. They're going to take over. Everything is going to be tokenized, in my opinion. Everything is going to be tokenized. Facebook is producing their token. China already has their token. Everybody pays everything in WeChat. We're going to pay everything in WhatsApp and via the internet. So fiat money, ciao. We're not going to... It's just like that. It's going to disappear. I was thinking today that I should have some money in the car to actually, whenever I feel like, offer to some beggars. Because beggars are having a hard time nowadays because nobody carries money anymore already, right? Hopefully, in the future, we're going to transfer some tokens for them, right? Okay, so. Now to the Kryptos. Here we go. We are right here. I must keep checking. No, not called Kryptos. Here. There we go. These are the Kryptos we've taken an eye on. So, and we're going to analyze them. Okay, it's 16 Kryptos, and we're starting with. Let me first see if everything is in daily chart and alphabetic order. Yep, there we go. Bitcoin Cash. It broke this resistance line and trend line, and then it felt. And I thought to this support level. Look at this support level; is important. I am thinking that eventually it has just pulled back to this former resistance level that was broken and then offered support here. And so I was keeping an eye on this resistance here, but it broke the resistance and produced yesterday a shooting star right in here, and is confirming the shooting star nowadays, especially now. It's going up as we speak, right? So I think it's coming down to test the next support level, 0.045. Let's see what happens. Binance, wow, Binance is the girl, I mean. Binance has been going up since its inception. And I must remind you that we're seeing all the charts in Bitcoin, because here we think on the Bitcoin standard. Here we want to increase our Bitcoins. Why is that? Oh, yes. And actually, I was forgetting to show you the analysis of Bitcoin. Actually, it's the next one, isn't it? Yeah, here it goes. But I'm going here because first I want to show you that nothing changed in so far in the long-term chart of Bitcoin. I don't know why I erased that, but it's back here. So I'm working with the situation in which we had wave 1 here, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and we're starting wave 5 now, and that's why I think we're going to this level here, which is this segment here, the last upward movement of 2017. This first level is $65,000, 64 and so whatever, and or we're going to repeat wave 3, the size of wave 3. Actually, I tell you what, I think that we're going much further up. But let's keep it this way for the moment. So if wave 5 equals wave 3, then we're heading to $340,000. So that's why we think on the Bitcoin standard. As I told you, the last video is going to be the SAT standard, because everything is going to be related to Bitcoin, but not exactly Bitcoin, but Satoshis, because you're not going to buy a shirt or pay a hotel night in 0.0000 whatever Bitcoin, whenever it's $100, $200, $300,000. You're going to pay it in 250 Satoshis or 1,000 Satoshis or whatever. It makes much more sense, right? If you don't know, Satoshi is the smallest unit of Bitcoin, 0.701. It's one Satoshi, because Bitcoin can be divided 8 points after decimal points after the comma. So that's why we see all the charts in Bitcoin. Now back to the chart here. Let's take a look and see the beginning. What's happening in the beginning of wave 5? Well, it started right here whenever the market produced a inverted head and shoulders for us. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then it went up, and then it produced a ascending triangle right over here. And what will it be producing now? Well, this was wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and we're having wave 4 here. And I would expect wave 4, as we had a accumulation in wave 2, I would expect wave 4 to give us an ABC. So that's why I think we might be seeing something like that before that. ABC. That's what I'm thinking for the moment. But going from the weekly to the daily chart, let's see what we got here. We can easily see, well, we're crossing a resistance period. Oh, I've got the word. Sorry about that. Range. Oh God, we're crossing a resistance range, and this accumulation is happening within this range, right? So probably we're going to see more accumulation here. Bitcoin could pull down, and that's why I think it's. I think looking at BINANCE is a good idea, because as you see, it was going up all the way. In 2018, it was sideways, but since December 2018, when Bitcoin was coming down, Binance was going up in Bitcoin. So now it held in the support line that we could draw here, and it is now just breaking this resistance level at 0.004. So I think we're heading to the top here, and if we're heading to the top, yeah, I draw this megaphone situation here, but as I think we're in an accumulation, I read a state that we had a bear trap in the support level here. We had a bull trap in this resistance level, and then we had a bear trap in this support level. So let's see what happens when the market reaches, I think it's going there, to 0.0048 here. So I'm bullish in Binance. Next one is Bitcoin. We talked already. Cardano was doing a flag, but now we can't call these a flag, but we could expect eventually that it just pulled back to its former resistance that is held in support. It's quite one button here, another button in December 2018. So let's see if it breaks this little resistance line that we could see better in the hourly chart. We might have a catch here. Link. Well, Link did it, didn't it? We've been thinking that this is a bullish situation for a while already, because it was launched, and then it went sideways and kept this resistance here at 10,000 Satoshis here. Then it broke this resistance. It pulled in January this year. It pulled back and then it broke this former resistance, producing not exactly a bull trap, but something like it. And then it just went up again, tested this level, and came down, and then it broke this level, and it broke this resistance trend line. So I think we're heading a lot higher. Actually, I projected this upward movement upward from here, so that would mean Link could go as far as 294% up yet. So is it time to buy it? Well, let's take a look in the hourly chart and let's see what we get here. If you're gonna get a accumulation, a continuation accumulation, or if that's going to be a reversal, right? We could eventually draw this line here. Market is testing and is holding in this support trend line, so we'll keep watching it. Now, Ethereum, we're actually long in Ethereum, and our stop hasn't been touched yet. If we go to the hourly chart, we'll see why we placed this stop here. Market is coming close, but not yet. Kryptos 1 calls Kryptos. Here's the Ethereum call. And I'm sorry about that. And I can't talk now. Have to turn off this thing here. And sorry about that. And the call was made because we had this upward flag, right? But it broke the resistance of the upward flag, and then I think it's pulling back to the former support trend line. So that's it. And so that's why we were long in Ethereum, right? So next one is Iota. Same thing. Iota. Iota is on the radar because it gave us a bear trap. So after a bear trap, we see a flag. So we enter the market, right? But we thought it had. Sorry about that. I was here. Next one is. I'll come back to Iota. Is Iota here? Yeah, it is here. The next one. So EOS token, we were, but we're not keeping an eye anymore. Now Iota, back to Iota, yes. So we issued a long call to Iota because of that, because of the bear trap and because of the flag. We thought it was giving us the sign, but it is apparently eventually making a pullback to his former resistance trend line, and let's see if it holds. If it doesn't, it will touch our our stop. NEM, we thought it was flagging down, but what is it doing? Is it pulling back to the former resistance that was broken days ago, or is it just reverting and that was just a bump, and now we're seeing the bump? I don't know. We're keeping an eye. NEO. Well, same thing. Broke this resistance level, and we thought that was a flag, and we were stopped today. But this could evolve into a rectangle or something, so we're keeping an eye on NEO. NEO again. Nice go. What's the situation? Well, it has produced a flag here, but we're not very cheerful about that because, this is not happening in a wonderful contest like the other ones I show you, in which we had a bear trap and then a flag. This is a bear flag. This is an upward flag in the middle of nowhere, so there's not much contest on that. But we're keeping an eye on it. Let's see if we go to the hourly chart here. Oh God, we got a gap in our data here. what's that? I'm going to update that. It didn't help. I got a complaint there. So forget about that. Let's go to the other one. Ontology. Again, this time the market touched a important support level, actually the all-time low support level. And then it breaks this resistance trend line, near-term resistance trend line, and we thought it was flagging. We didn't issue any calls in here because the flag is not a flag anymore. It's a pullback or whatever. We're keeping an eye. Tezos, we think this is a rectangle, and that's why we're keeping an eye. We actually missed this indication here the other day. It went up like hell. It went up like 17%, so we didn't do anything. But if it reaches this level and produces a reversal candlestick, I think we might enter Tezos. And Verge was flagging up, but it, not anymore, as we see the shooting star here. But still keeping an eye on that. And finally, Zcash, that was also producing a flag in the middle of nowhere. We're keeping an eye, but doesn't look like a flag anymore. So this is it. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!